The market here isn't the same anymore. It's half the rate, twice the work. But I got you a gig and the pay is actually pretty good.
What's my part?
So, I mean, I knew about the rental girlfriend, renting an older uncle to give you advice, etc. I heard about it. I did not know about the rental family actually renting or actor to pretend to be a family member. Like I did not know until my co-writer Stephen Blahut had was researching randomly about the job that exists for Caucasian Americans to do in Japan.
Okay.
And there was a butler cafe, right? There's a cuddling service, all these interesting jobs that came around, and the rental family was one of them. And that's why I said, wow, this is something so unique. And I'm Japanese and I didn't know anything about it.
Me too, actually.
Right? You didn't know. I know, but we know about the rental girlfriend, you know. And then I used to do, when I was 19, I used to do this job called mannequin, which I went to every different department floors, depending on what they want me to do. I would sell salmon raw in one day on the basement, and I'll go sell shoes the next day with specialized in banyans, and then I have to pretend to be all this professional of what I was selling at the time. So this pretending things was always familiar to me. But renting family member and pretend to be the family member. But it was like, it wasn't even the pretending. I think now really people invest. They just be there for them, right? At first they play this role, but then in the end, they're just there to, just spend time. And
Right.
there's something beautiful in that about the humanity and the connection that I just find it so intrigued, and I wanted to explore what that looked like. Sure. So what I did was, both me and Steven, we did a research. I did a Japanese research. He did an English version of it. I have interviewed people who owns the company.
Right.
There's a group that is of only female, built like female CEO, female employees, and they do the services like this. But basically, they do anything, right? If there's somebody, just older women says, I need somebody to fix the light bulbs. And then they'll be like, okay, great. And then she's like, I don't care whoever, just bring me anybody. And then they'll just pick the right person for that, right? And somebody who likes to care older people, elderly. And then so they'll connect. And then also the people who have worked as an actor to do the apologizing service. And they all said, well, she particularly, this one woman said that was the most awkward thing I've done again, because she had to be somebody that she's not, and she felt so bad for this woman that she was apologizing to, and that was inspiration for the role that I wrote the scene for. And then
Okay.
yeah, and then there's a story that I heard about this gentleman who was on his deathbed. He wanted to apologize to his real daughter, but he was no longer able to connect with her because their relationship has been distanced. And he hired somebody who looks like his daughter, and said, I just want her to show up to my hospital so I can apologize. So that was in one of the story that actually Stephen found, and it was written by a Japanese article. So that was kind of we wrote a story about Aiko's first time. We kind of flipped the idea of like, what if Aiko walks into this situation? So we had this monologue that we wrote we wrote the story that was her first time was she would get her hair combed by this woman, and she doesn't say anything, she just comb her hair.
Right.
When at the end, after a few weeks goes over, she start apologizing, right? So we kind of having from the real story, we were able to build our own story, and we had so much fun in that because, you know, we want to stick with why this business exists, why these people need these services, like 100%, but that creativity of like, what is the story we want to tell? How can we connect with the audience was such a really great exercise and a really great writing process.
Right.
Yeah, you know, for me, he was the how genuine he is. I got to see him obviously in Well, and he was incredible, and the vulnerability and the genuine just the care that he brought to this character and the pain that it was all there. I knew
Right.
it was so much more than I expected it. Because pain has to stay in this Phillips character, right? This whole time it had to play somewhere. But by watching Wells, you know, him in the Well, it was just, I knew he can do it. But it was after the fact when he was in doing Q&A, I got to see him who really he was. This, you know, sometimes he can be quirky and, you know, really cheerful and so funny, and he's so funny. And then he also really caring for the cast. He's very compassionate, and that personality, who he is, really needed for me, was important for Philip's character. And I knew Brendan can play Philip like in that moment. I was like, he got this, he's gonna get it, I know he's gonna be perfect. And it was after that I was like, I'm gonna send the script in and see what he says, right? Yeah. So it was a great question, because I asked Brendan if he'll be open to learning Japanese. And as I was saying, he says, can I take Japanese lessons? Because I really want to learn and I really want to immerse myself into the culture. So I was like, of course, thank you, let's do this. So he took Japanese lessons, and he's been to Japan more than a few times through mommy, like all his career. He always loved it. And he just, right before we started talking, he went to Japan not even a year before, just to travel. And so he took about 4 to 6 months English lesson every 3 times a week, just learning basic Japanese to conversational developed into. And then we had a Japanese coach for him to learn on set or before, and then also on set. So when he has a question, she's there to support him. But I think, again, because he'd been to Japan many times, and he's who he is, he's the kind of person who doesn't want to be like this. He's a person who's very wanted to take in the Japanese culture and the way we are, right? Japanese people are very respectful for the other. And he just took it all in. So that's why when he's on the shop, like on the train, he does this, right? He kind of wanted to hide, but he's, I think that's all him, right? He just really knew what it takes to be Philip, and being there for 7 years. So.
Right.
Sure. So when they came on board, they asked if they could. There's a company or people can talk to, and so we introduced to this a few companies, and I think they spoke to one of them, and the owners experience why she decided to do this business and what kind of people they use the service. So as to play the character, they really understood. Interviewing from the professional who's actually doing this job for so many years, they were able to grasp what this business is all about, which was perfect for the character. And for me, my job was to really give them the backstory of who they are as a person, what did they do before they got to this place, and where they're heading to, what their inspiration, what they want to do, right? So for example, Tada's mission is, he had a family, but he was working so hard. Now his mission, his goal is to expand this job. That's his thing. But then as soon as his employee Aiko comes in and she says quit, she has to adjust that. It's not all about him and his company. So that arc of the story of how he portrayed this character really helped to have this interview with this company. And then also just sharing his backstory again, as a father who wanted to give everything to his son, to best for the company, and then what's on the script, he was able to balance between. And then Naiko also has a very dark past. Some of the actresses who I've known for a long time, she was one of them. And Aiko's character had unfortunate some of the sexual experience in the industry. That was her backstory. But then, and then it happens, right? In Japan, Japan, like a lot of Asian culture, unfortunately, still those things exist that people don't talk about. So for me, her quitting the job, say enough is enough, and say I quit, thank you for everything, was my message to all these girls. Say, it doesn't matter if you're entertainment, girls and boys, it doesn't matter. If something you doesn't feel like you're comfortable doing it, it's time for you to step in and step up and say enough is enough, So I really hope that everybody will get that inspired to just really find what's important to them and respect who they are as a person without everybody else. Avoiding the reality, and we really thought about it. So I thought about it deeply, but answer is for me, if you feel that moment that if you're in a way, if you're experiencing this lift in your heart, if you're experiencing joy, laughing in this even 2 hours, it doesn't matter. Like if you are having good time and if you can afford these services, why not? But I think what I would hope the audience to be is to just not rely on it from that experiences. What would you like really for your life to be? How can you, what you received, how can you create that in your own way, right? I think if they can make that one step from that moment, and rather than relying on this or constantly, and if relying is okay too, if you can afford it, great. And if not, then just find a way what makes you feel good, and then find maybe perhaps there's other outlet to make you feel good, right? So I think, to go back to your question, I think absolutely, who are we to judge? I think we can just anybody can do whatever they want. We live in this world, it's a freedom, just go all the way you want to. And at the same time, think what find a way for you to also find a happiness as well too. And hopefully this business can help you to get there.
Okay, well, they told me to wrap it up.
Okay.
Had a good time talking to you, Hikari-san.
Yes, thank you so much, Dom-san.
Okay, bye.
Back to you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
So, what do you think we do here?
We sell emotion.
How?
We play roles in clients' lives. Parents, siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, best friends, and help them connect to what's missing.
I'm just an actor. I don't know how to help people.
What I'm offering here is a chance to play roles with a real meaning.
What do you need me for?
We need a token white guy. This girl needs a father.
Hi, Mia. I'm your father. I'm your father. Hello, Mia. I'm your father.
I hate you.
She hates me.
It's what being a parent is. You could live in this country for 100 years, and there will still be things you won't understand.
Why do you do this?
Sometimes the story we tell ourselves becomes the truth. To her parents, you are her husband. These people look at you like they've been waiting for you their whole lives. And what you'll discover is that they stay with you.
Well, this is amazing.
It's cool, but it's fake.
Sometimes it's okay to pretend.